20% of 140. 20, it's like 30. So then,
20.
it's like 170 is 20%. So then maybe for you, I wouldn't go up yet quite to past 200.
Okay.
I would have her consider your full push to be like 200. And then just try to not go below 150 if
Okay.
possible. There are some days where you do have to drop it to 140, but whatever you do, don't drop below 140.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't be afraid to push and try. And I know they say drop and don't drop. When you're pushing for speed, you're fighting for speed. And so when it gets difficult, you don't want to stop writing. And I know it's like what you kind of tend to do. Fight and push just to get something for everything because you're just trying to get your hands and brain used to not stopping. The dropping comes, and I've told this before, that when I took my state test, I had never once in my life dropped. I didn't understand what that meant. Like I knew what just falling off of the dictation was, but when they would say just drop a word, I never was able to do that. Like it was either I'm on it or I suck. And so when I took my state test, there was like one word or section, like 2 words, where I just knew if I try to fight for those, I'm going to lose this. And in that moment, I went, oh, this is what they mean. And I skipped those 2 words and then kept going. And that was the first time ever in school that I had actually properly dropped, where you don't fall off, you just go, nope, not today, not doing that word, and keep going. While you're in school, though, you're not taking your state test. This isn't going to be for a legal hearing. So you just fight and you get some slop down sometimes. And don't worry about it being perfect, because if you're fighting at 170 and you're getting something for everything, then when you drop it to 140 for your test, I think you'll be surprised at how much cleaner your notes are. That you'll have automatically, your notes will be cleaner because it's by virtue of having the ability to go slightly faster. Slowing it down cleans it up.
Okay.
So try that.
And the thing about it is muscle memory.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
And that's why I perfected dictations rather than doing 20 different ones. I would stay on a 5-minute dictation. I would do like 2 different ones in a practice session, and I would maybe take a couple days between to work out those 2. And I would memorize them completely. And so by the end of it, you know, it's truly muscle memory. And so you might feel like, oh, well, that's cheating because like I memorized it. But then the next time those words come up in a test,
Right.
You'll be like, hey, I know this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trust me, you didn't memorize it.
You learned it. You
You're not-
practiced.
One, and I'm not making fun of you, you're not that good to memorize the whole thing.
Yeah.
No
Right.
one, I think, is that good to memorize something for 5 minutes. And it's only 5 minutes.
It's a lot of words.
At
Yeah.
140, you get up to
It's a lot of words.
225, even at 140, that's a lot of words. So you're not, all it is muscle memory to those words. And you're gonna find, just like Sarah was saying, when you do another take and it's like, and they're talking about technical, and you just had this take where they were talking about technical this and technical that, so you're used to writing technical, and it's, oh man, technical.
Right. And then, and I'll shut up so that we're not here all night, but the last thing is I don't think that, you know, school says practice, but what does that mean? And so when you've got a section that you're doing your practicing, you're doing what I told you, and you get to this 10-second portion or whatever it is that you just go, okay, I keep falling off here. What I did is I would do backwards practicing. So like if it said, enough to tell us a few statements. Let's say that's the phrase. I would write that out, and I would first, with like a metronome, so like let's say that you're at 140. I might put the metronome at 140 then, if it's something like that. And so you get a metronome app, put it at 140, and then just 1, 2, 3 statements. 1, 2, 3 statements. Once you've written statements, because that's the last word of that phrase, right? Enough to tell us a few statements. Once you've done that 5 times, without messing up, add the next word that comes before that. So that would be enough to tell us a few statements. So now we're going to do few statements. So get the metronome, few statements.
Is this an app that you're downloading?
Yeah, there's like, if you go to App Store and just type in metronome, you can find a slew of free metronome apps. And so they're used for music stuff.
Is it that?
Yeah.
Yep.
But they don't even do that anymore now. Now
there's
there's, yeah, and that's, and so I always, and I kind of count myself in so that I know that I'm coming in
right.
few statements to try to stay with that beat. So then after you've done that 5 times, if you get to the 5th time and you mess it up, guess
Start
what?
over.
Back to 1 for a few statements. So anyway, it gets to be like to the point where by the end of it, you've, you know, you keep adding every word, but that will kind of break you through your hesitation, because that will take wherever the hesitation comes in and forces you to work through it, and you're going backwards, so you're not anticipating it. So I would do that with music,
Okay.
and that's why I started trying to do that, and it worked. So yeah.
So I mean, guys, there's so many different ways of practicing, you know, and you'll go to one of the meetings and talk to some of the court reporters, and
They'll tell
they
you
did
something
something
totally
totally
opposite.
different.
Yeah.
You know, but it worked for them, you know, and maybe this works for you. Maybe this metronome.
Yeah, it's metronome.
Yeah, that's what it's.
I use Frozen 8 is the one that I use.
This millennium thing that. No, I mean, and maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. But, you know, and one good thing about, you know, this metronome that you can do is like your briefs. You learn a new brief, it's like, God, you know, I know that it's a good brief, but I can't remember it during dictation. That's when you use this thing. And you're using the brief, and you know that it's a good brief. If it's not a good brief, then skip it. And you just can't get it, then skip it. Or think of something else.
What I would say to that, kind of like, you know, like weightlifting. It's not always going to be easy, you know.
Ever.
So I've heard some people that say, I was told if the brief doesn't stick for the, you know, in the first try, give it up. I'm like, well, guess what? Walking didn't stick for me at first, and I fell down a bunch, but here I am. I persevered. What I would do for those briefs that I would know what they were. Every time I'd mess up, I still have it. I have a brief list on my fridge right now. What I would do, though, is also a ton of voice stuff where I would take 100 briefs, and I would sit and put them into my phone, like 20 at a time, and I would just, you know, order, civility, and just metronomically, at a good rhythmic cadence, put it into my phone, and then I would just sit there and listen to my annoying voice and type out the briefs to the point where I went, okay, I've got those. Then the ones that didn't stick from that, I put on flashcards. Like, I was so determined that, no, this is difficult, but if there's no reason why this brief, you know, unless it's got like a ton of stupid letters that you could shorten it some more, if it's just not sticking because you got a mental block, you just have to practice it more. So yeah, so don't get caught up on something that's not a common word. But if it's a common word, like jury, and you're struggling to get that brief, don't give that one up. Find a way to get it in your brain. So, yeah.
And that's what this is, guys. It's perseverance. That's what this whole thing is. You know, and finding and being able to overcome that, you know. And it's, you know what, it's not going to get the best of me. It's not, no matter what. So you're just always going to find a way to get through it. And, you know, whether this metronome works or whatever works. I mean, your husband or friend or whatever uses flashcards, and she's just reading flashcards to you or
and
whatever.
flashcards
or
works?
kids, whatever.
Because if you can't mentally come up with the brief to match it to a flashcard,
Yeah.
you're not going to get it on the machine. So, you know, it is mostly machine, but then there were elements of that I was doing of practice outside of the machine of just writing my briefs. So yeah, when you're doing your metronome, I heard you download it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's on 4/4.
4/4?
Yeah, there should be an option for 4/4 rather than 3/4.
I
Or,
think it's 4/1 right
4
now. So
that might be
4/4.
right. Whatever it's originally on.
Oh, okay. Let me put it back.
Yeah, but that's all. Just remember, guys, if Adele can go to the Grammys for 2 years straight and keep messing it up every year, if she can persevere, so can you. Where are we at?
Do y'all have any other
Beats.
questions?
That's right.
So 4/1?
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
beats per bar, and that's just how many clicks. So you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
Do you want to stay in freelancing?
Yeah, I do. Right now, I'm very happy with it.
Especially after that court.
Yeah, that's really, yeah, that was my eye-opener.
Yeah.
I know that there are great courts to work in, and so it's not to poo-poo court or say that never, ever, ever, but right now I'm so incredibly happy, and I was so scarred by that transcript that I'm good where I am right now.
And that's the nightmare of it. You know, the first court that I took was that same thing. I mean, there was like 19 attorneys in this hearing. I didn't have the flashcard. We hadn't even thought of flashcards or
You didn't
whatever.
have your wedding
And
seating chart?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure this thing out with 19
Yikes.
people, and not everyone's talking, but everyone said something there was two guys that were really doing the main talking, but it's like, you know, well, Mr. So-and-so from New York, what, yeah, well, we had some exhibit stuff on that, and we had some blah, blah, blah documentation that, I don't even know who that cat was. I mean, you know, but, I mean, after the hearing, I told her, do not move, don't move. And I got everyone's name. And I remembered it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 19. That was my first court hearing, guys. And that, to me, was like, I don't want to do court anymore. I don't want to. But you know what? Then I went the next time, and you know what? It was just a simple hearing, motion, whatever, and it's like, oh man, this is easy. Well, I got a transcript on that one, and it was an 0-16. 0-16. It lasted like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So for the same amount that I would have gotten on an 0-1, I got 15 more copies that I didn't do any more work for, and I got paid for it. When I got that check, and it was like, yeah.
And freelancing has opportunities for that too, is if you can get your skill up and make a name for yourself, if you can get real time ready, you know, in a couple years. There are some huge cases where they all want real time, so then you're charging extra per real time, and there's 20 on the case.
Wow.
And so there are opportunities for both. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that freelance is better than court or vice versa. It's just kind of what works for your personality and your stage of
that's
life.
exactly it. I mean, because now it's like, you know, and I've made a joke about it, but it's like, you know, God forbid, you know, I ever lost my job. I don't know that I would go back to freelancing. Probably would. I mean, if I needed to finish out, you know, till I'm retired or whatever, but this is what I know now. You know, and she's kind of the same way. And I have a friend that works for that same firm. She's been reporting longer than I have. And I tried to get her to come to court, and she's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And great writer. She just won't have it. Will not have it. You know, so it's whatever suits you.
And David, you know, he goes in, what, 9 to
5.
yeah, we'll say 5. 5. And he's there Monday through Friday.
Ish.
But point is, so that's what he does. But then he's got weekends. But then he's doing transcripts.
Yeah.
For me, I might have a week where I take 6 jobs. I might have a week where I don't, because then I'm catching up, or I'm just on call those days, and so then those days I sit in a coffee shop in sweatpants and edit, and I love that. For me, that's a happy day to just get to go do my own thing and edit, rather than reporting to a job every day. So it's just figure out what your happy is for you.
But I mean, you know, if you're the kind that's like, you know what, I'm not a morning person, so waking up at, you know, the crack of noon is for you, then, you know, sometimes maybe freelance is for you. I needed the structure. You know, I'm that person that needs a structure. I need to know that I'm here every day. I need to know that I'm making at least this much every day. I need to know that this, and this, A, B, C. And sometimes, you know, with freelance, to me, it seemed like it was A, C, D, B, F, and you're all over the place sometimes. You know, and, you know, it's nice because you take depositions with all kinds of people, and you get to meet all kinds of people. And I've told you guys that, you know, taking the deposition of that guy that, you know, bought and sold cows for people. And I thought that was the best job ever. Got to take the deposition of this cat, and it was awesome. And I thought, man, if I ever get out of court reporting, that's what I want to do. But you get to meet all these kinds of people, you know, so it's good. So it's different for everybody. Okay? Any other questions? Guys, thanks. Unbelievable. Thank
Yes,
you, Sarah, for coming.
bring the
Yes,
applause down.
yes, bring pizza.
Is that off? I have
No.
an off the record story. I'll tell
Okay.
you.
Guys, Wednesday, be here also. We have Debbie Jimenez who's coming. She's going to talk about criminal district court. So she's going to be talking about that. So read. Oh God, I don't even know.
Is it the section? Mine was section C, I think, is what we were discussing.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I think there's a section on criminal stuff. You might want to look at it. Just kind of go through it, read it if you can, and try to get some questions for her. Marking exhibits, what you do with the exhibits, you know, especially in court, criminal. You know, it might be a gun, heroin, marijuana, anything. It could be a lot of different things or whatever. So just anything that you could think of that would have to do with a criminal trial. Okay? And that's on Wednesday. Any other questions? All right, guys, we'll see y'all on Wednesday.